Sometimes the things that surprise us most don't come from somewhere far away. They come from our own daily habits. The things we've always believed are good, healthy, safe, sometimes turn out to be quietly working against us. I'm Dr. Robert. I'm 60 years old, and for more than 3 decades, I've worked with thousands of patients, most of them over 50. And I've heard this sentence more times than I can count. Doctor, I eat very healthy. Every morning I have some blueberries with yogurt, and I usually smile, then gently ask, did you know that sometimes that very bowl of yogurt might be taking away some of the benefits those blueberries could bring you? Almost every time I say that, people look at me with surprise. Because in their minds, and probably in ours too, blueberries are a superfood. They're full of antioxidants, good for the heart, the brain, the blood vessels. Those tiny blue-purple berries look simple, but they're like bodyguards of aging. And that's true, if you eat them the right way. But over the years, I started noticing something interesting. Many of my patients in their 60s and 70s said they ate blueberries every day, yet they still felt tired, forgetful, had high blood pressure, or chronic inflammation. So I began asking more questions. And you know what I found? Most of them had one thing in common. They mixed blueberries with foods that seemed harmless, even healthy, milk, yogurt, or sugary snacks. That's what I call the health trap. I want you to imagine this. You're sitting by the window, a warm cup of coffee beside you, and a bowl of yogurt topped with fresh blueberries in front of you. The morning light hits those plump berries. It looks like the picture of health, doesn't it? But the moment you stir that first spoonful, something starts happening. On a level your eyes can't see. The proteins in milk begin to cling to the anthocyanins, the antioxidants that make blueberries so powerful. And once they bind together, your body can barely absorb them anymore. Can you picture that? Every spoonful of blueberry yogurt you eat, thinking it's food for longevity, just passes through your system, leaving almost none of the goodness behind. I once had a patient named Eleanor, 68 years old. She was disciplined, ate on schedule, practiced yoga every morning, never smoked. But she came to me because she felt her memory was fading, and she often felt drained despite getting enough sleep. When I reviewed her diet, I found she'd been eating yogurt with blueberries every morning for 15 years. I suggested she make a small change, switch to unsweetened almond milk, or just eat the blueberries on their own. 3 months later, she returned with a smile and said, Doctor, I feel clearer, more awake. My energy's back. Now, I'm not saying milk is bad or that you should never eat it again. But when it comes to foods like blueberries, where delicate antioxidants need to be absorbed fully, the right pairing makes all the difference. You see, after 60, our bodies don't work quite the same. The immune system weakens, nutrient absorption slows, and silent inflammation begins to rise. At that stage, every food choice, every combination can be a step forward or a step backward for your health. And the sad part is, many people think eating healthy simply means choosing foods with a good reputation. But the body isn't that simple. Inside you, everything interacts. Sometimes they help each other. Sometimes they cancel each other out. One morning, as I sat in my office, looking out the window where the oak trees were shedding their leaves, I thought, maybe health is like the seasons. You can't just pour more fertilizer and expect the tree to stay green. It has to be the right kind, at the right time. In the same way, eating blueberries the right way is what keeps the tree of your life vibrant and alive. Have you ever felt like Eleanor? Like you've been doing all the right things, eating healthy, exercising regularly, and yet your body just doesn't respond the way it used to? If so, this video might just change how you see food, because it's not just about milk. There are other things too. Everyday foods that seem harmless, yet quietly rob those little berries of their power. We'll talk about them, one by one, so you can understand how your body truly reacts. I'll tell you about a man who started each morning with a blueberry muffin, thinking it was the healthier kind of pastry, and about a woman who took her iron supplement right after her blueberry smoothie. They both believed they were taking care of themselves, but those very habits were slowly draining their energy day by day. So before we dive into the 3 food combinations you should avoid with blueberries, I want you to remember this. Not all good foods go well together, and sometimes the difference between eating healthy and eating right is what determines whether you enter your 70s with a clear mind or trembling hands. So let's start from the beginning. Let's discover together why a tiny berry, so gentle and pure, can become a double-edged sword for your health if paired the wrong way, and more importantly, how to make it your true ally for a long, healthy life. Think about your mornings for a moment. Maybe you start your day with a bowl of cereal, a handful of blueberries, and a splash of milk or yogurt. It looks perfect, doesn't it? But sometimes, what looks perfect on the outside is quietly weakening us on the inside. Inside the body, the proteins in milk tend to cling tightly to the antioxidants in blueberries, especially anthocyanins. Once that happens, your body can hardly absorb any of those benefits. I once had a patient named Mark, 72 years old. He believed he was doing everything right, eating fruits, avoiding fried food, exercising regularly. Yet his memory kept fading, and his blood pressure kept rising. When we reviewed his diet, he said, "Doctor, I eat yogurt with blueberries every day, morning." I smiled and said, "Mark, the problem is hiding right in that breakfast bowl." We switched to unsweetened almond milk instead. Just 2 months later, he told me his mind felt clear and refreshed. Sometimes a tiny change is all it takes to reopen the door to real nourishment. I understand. A warm blueberry muffin or a sweet, creamy smoothie can be a little joy in the morning. But few people realize how the hidden sugar inside can quietly deceive the body. You see, blueberries are naturally sweet and have a very low glycemic index, meaning they help stabilize blood sugar. But once you add refined sugar, everything changes. Sugar causes insulin to spike and crash, putting your body through an endless, high-low roller coaster. I once had a patient named Linda, 66, who said she couldn't start her day without a blueberry muffin. But by noon, she was exhausted and reaching for more coffee. When we checked her blood sugar levels, they looked like a roller coaster graph. I asked, "Do you realize that the healthy muffin is actually draining your energy?" After she gave up the muffin and switched to blueberries with oats, within weeks her energy stabilized and her sleep improved. The truth is, we don't need extra sugar to make life sweet. The natural sweetness from ripe fruit and the feeling of being healthy is the kind of sweetness that lasts. Here's something many older adults don't know. The polyphenols in blueberries can interfere with iron absorption. It's not immediately dangerous, but over time, it can reduce oxygen in the blood, leaving you tired, lightheaded, and forgetful. A 74-year-old patient named Harold once told me his mind felt foggy. He drank a blueberry smoothie every morning, right after taking his iron supplement. When I explained that the two don't go well together, he was silent for a while, then said, "All my life, I thought the more vitamins, the better." But the truth is, health isn't about how much you take in. It's about how well your body absorbs what you need. Simply spacing your iron and blueberries 2 to 3 hours apart can make a world of difference. I know, many of us enjoy a cup of coffee or tea right after breakfast. But if your breakfast includes blueberries, it might be worth rethinking that timing. Caffeine and tannins in coffee or strong tea can interfere with the absorption of vitamin C and polyphenols, the very compounds that make blueberries powerful. I once joked with a patient, "You're playing chess with your immune system, moving one piece forward while pulling another back. If you want to enjoy both, just separate them. Coffee first, or blueberries an hour later. Sometimes the best thing you can give your body is a little breathing room. I get it. Not everyone has the time to rinse and prep fresh blueberries every morning. Those frozen bags in the supermarket are so convenient, but many of them are coated with sugar or syrup to preserve flavor, and that convenience comes at a cost. When blueberries are frozen or heated with added sweeteners, anthocyanins and vitamin C begin to break down, drastically reducing their nutritional value. A small study found that sweetened frozen blueberries contain nearly 50% fewer antioxidants than fresh ones. If you need convenience, choose unsweetened frozen varieties, or simply refrigerate fresh blueberries for 2 to 3 days. They'll stay fresh and much more nutritious. I often tell my patients, don't trade your health for convenience. The time you save today could be the energy you lose tomorrow. This is one of the most common mistakes I see among older Americans. Those colorful cereal boxes labeled Heart Healthy make us feel confident, but few of us read the fine print. Most processed cereals are loaded with hydrogenated oils, refined sugars, and preservatives, all of which cause oxidative stress, the exact opposite of what blueberries are meant to prevent. One elderly woman once said to me, "Doctor, I've eaten cereal with blueberries every morning for 20 years. Why is my cholesterol still high?" I showed her the nutrition label. Just one serving contained more than half her daily sugar allowance. We trust those healthy labels, but forget that true health doesn't come from marketing. It comes from mindful choices. Instead of packaged granola, try whole oats or chia seeds. When paired with fresh blueberries, you'll taste a natural sweetness and feel steady energy that lasts all day. I know what I've just shared may surprise some of you. After all, we've been told all our lives that fruit is always good. But age has taught me something. The human body is a delicate balance. A food can be a medicine or a burden, depending on how we use it. And I don't want these truths to make you afraid. I want them to make you empowered. Because when you understand your body, you're no longer a passive passenger on your health journey. You become the one steering the wheel. You know, after more than 30 years in this profession, I've come to realize something beautifully simple. Good health doesn't come from what we eat once in a while. It comes from how we treat our body every single day. A tiny blueberry may hold a treasure of antioxidants, but if we don't understand it, if we don't respect the delicate harmony of nature, then that treasure remains locked away. I once had a patient named Martha, 68 years old, very diligent about eating superfoods. Yet she was constantly tired, slept poorly, and often complained of joint pain. When I asked more about her routine, she said, "Doctor, I eat blueberries every morning, with yogurt, granola, and a hot cup of coffee." I just smiled, not because she was wrong, but because she was doing the right thing, in the wrong way. A month later, Martha made a small change. She switched to unsweetened almond milk, skipped the coffee after breakfast, and her energy levels rose noticeably. Her skin looked brighter, and she slept more deeply. Tiny adjustments like these, though they seem trivial, can completely transform the quality of our lives. I share this story to remind you, nutrition is a journey, not a trend. It's not about buying the most expensive foods, but about understanding your body and listening to it patiently. So if you're in your 50s, 60s, or beyond, treat every meal as a quiet conversation with your body. Don't force it, don't rush it. Just listen, adjust gently, and honor the wisdom that nature has already given you. And if today's message helped you learn something new, if you'd like to keep exploring the small secrets of better health with me, then please subscribe to this channel. Because I don't just want to talk to you about blueberries or carrots or omega-3s. I want us, together, week by week, to learn how to live longer, healthier, and more peacefully inside our own bodies. Age is not something to fear. It's simply a reminder that it's time to live more wisely. I'll see you in the next video, where we'll talk about everyday foods that quietly slow your memory over the years. I'm Dr. Robert. Thank you for spending this time with me. And as always, take good care of yourself, because no one else can do that better than you.